Home prices in LA are way down $42,000 from their summertime peak. But a close look at the data suggests that prices may have already bottomed out for the year. We're going to get to the bottom of it, pun intended, in today's Los Angeles Real Estate Update for September 8th, 2025. Tune in every other week for a new Los Angeles market update, and tune in every week for new lessons, tips, and strategies for buying a home in California. I'm Jon Schwartz, your 1% Commission California Realtor, and gang, it is September 2025. If you know how to use Zillow, you shouldn't be paying your real estate agent like it's 1990. Working with a lower commission, full-service agent saves you tens of thousands of dollars while giving you all the guidance and security you need through the offer and escrow process. Learn more at my website, jonsch.com. That's jonsch.com. Now let's get into the numbers. And we're looking at the most recent weekly print from Redfin. What we have here is weekly data going back to 2022, which is is that green? The green line. 2023 is the red line. 2024 is the orange line. And this year, 2025, is we'll call it blue-ish line. We're looking at median sale price of homes in Los Angeles, California. And this week, we're down $7,000 to $909,000 for a median priced home in the Los Angeles metro area. That's down $42,000 from our peak in June. And of course, what we're going to be looking for in the next week or two is whether pricing falls below last year's numbers, as happened briefly in May of this year. Now we're looking at the numbers of homes sold in Los Angeles. And as you can see, broadly speaking, we've been in line with the last 3 years, though below 2022's numbers. Obviously, what's been different the past 3 years versus 2022? Well, in 2022, rates were still under 4%. So as you can see, higher interest rates does significantly impact the number of homes sold, both in Los Angeles and nationally. Though if we look a little closer, we'll see that for most of this time, 2025, which is the bluish purplish line, has been trailing behind last year and the year before. And right now we are still trailing last year's numbers by 4.5%. Now we're looking at pending sales. Pending sales is a leading indicator. A home goes pending this month and then becomes a home sold next month. So we look to pending sales to have a sense of where the market is headed. And broadly speaking, we see the same macro picture in pending sales, that the past 3 years have been in a relatively tight band. And then 2022 up here has been much higher because rates were much lower in 2022. Though again, we see for much of this year, 2025, the bluish purplish line has been below last year's numbers. And that trend reversed this week when pending sales exceeded last week's numbers by 2.5%. This rebound in pending sales indicates that there has been a turnaround, that buyers have been pulled more into the market as prices in Los Angeles have come down so much. And with this turnaround now complete in the pending sales data, we should expect to see homes sold begin to climb above last year's numbers in the next 4 to 6 weeks. This is a leading indicator that prices may have fallen as far as they need to fall in order for more buyers to come into the market and stabilize pricing. Now we're looking at new listings. These are the number of new listings coming to market each week in California. As you can see, for most of the year, we were ahead of last year's numbers. That's more inventory coming to market. However, from July to August, we fell behind last year's numbers. So let's make this a big up. More listings, more listings, more listings, fewer new listings, fewer new listings. And then for the past couple weeks, we've really been absolutely in lockstep with last year's numbers. And this week, we are trailing last year by 0.1%. with 1,326 new listings coming to market. And now we're looking at the new listing median price. This is the median price at which these new listings are coming to market. And this week we hit $927,000, the median price point of a new listing. This is the lowest point since back in January. Obviously, list prices climb as we exit winter. List prices took a big hit right here. This is July 4th weekend of 2025. And pricing has stayed down ever since. New listing median price is a great proxy for realtor sentiment, and as we can see, realtor sentiment took a hit in June and has stayed relatively low since. Now we're looking at the total number of active listings on the market in Los Angeles. This week we fell to just under 15% above last year's numbers. That's down from 33% above last year's numbers back in June. So there is still a lot more inventory on the market than there was last year, but not quite as big a jump as there was back in June. Obviously, as inventory dwindles, that creates upward pressure on pricing. So this is yet another reason why pricing may have bottomed out if we continue to get closer to last year's inventory numbers, and I think that's very possible. We'll see more upward pressure on pricing and pricing stabilize or perhaps grow a little bit as we head into the winter. Now we're looking at weeks of supply, and this is a more comprehensive metric than active inventory because it factors in demand. This is how many weeks of supply are on the market if buyers were to continue buying homes exactly at the rate they're buying them now. Right now, we are at 19.7 weeks of supply on the market. That's down from 21 weeks, which is where we peaked in June. Obviously, we are floating high above last year and 2022 and 2023, showing us that inventory is not at peak levels for the year, but is still relatively high for this time of year in Los Angeles. Now we're looking at off-market in 2 weeks as a percentage of pending sales. This graph shows us the percentage of pending sales that went pending within 2 weeks of being listed on the market. And as you can see, we have really rocketed up since our July trough of 15.5% of homes going pending in 2 weeks. We are now at 28.4% of listed homes go pending in 2 weeks. What this tells me is that with median prices coming down and median list prices coming down, buyers are beginning to jump at what they see as good opportunities. So as a Los Angeles home buyer, if a home comes to market and it's a good home and it's priced right, you've got to be quick. Even though the market's moving a little faster than it was in July, it's still an excellent buying opportunity for home shoppers in California. Check out my recent California analysis where I share where I think the market's headed this fall and winter, and tune back in 2 more weeks for my next Los Angeles real estate update.